And in this video, I'm building a UK-inspired intersection or junction. I got the inspiration from this build on my trip where I drove from the south of England in Poole all the way up to the Isle of Skye in Scotland. And this junction was in the Sherwood Forest area. I'm not sure what is it province in the UK or is it county? It's county in the UK. I'm not sure what county that's in, but that's what it was inspired by. I drove past this and thought it looked really interesting. It was an interesting way to join the roads together. So as soon as I came home, I ended up making it. And as you could have seen in maybe the cinematics, the flickering is still here. It's a vanilla thing. It's annoying. Colossal Order apparently don't want to fix it. Ronix made a good post about it on Twitter, and all they said back to him was, "You have a good eye," because he pointed out that in their streams they had the flickering issue on vanilla, and all they said is, "You have a good eye." They didn't say they were going to fix it or anything, but it's a bug in the game, in the vanilla game. It's annoying. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to mitigate it as much as possible with moving the sun around and angling it in different angles, but sometimes it's just impossible. You get a really good shot and then you move the sun and it all messes up, and it's annoying. But I try my best. Also, I have worked out that the lighter the colour of the roads, the more the flicker, which is a bit of a problem because I was building UK roads, and UK roads tend to be quite a light colour, so it was a bit difficult. I hope I got rid of it, but it's like I said, it is very hard to tell in the this editing window that I have right now if the flickering is minimal. So of course I'm going to be using ploppable asphalt here to cover up the markings on certain parts of the road, and I'm obviously matched the colour to the roads, that colour I'm using. And I didn't want to cover up all the markings because it just leaves a lot of work having to draw all new markings. And also, if you're trying to work out where cars are going to be driving, it's hard to work it out without the lines because you've just covered them all up and then you don't know where the cars are going to be. So you got to strike a balance and either draw the lines first before you put proper asphalt down, or I only cover up some of them and use some of the lines that are already there, because the lines that are already there can be useful and just do look okay. They don't look bad, so it works quite well. So I start to draw lines and then realise that it's probably not the best idea because I've got to have these sort of raised grass areas. I was trying to use something else, thinking maybe planters wouldn't look too great. I mean, they don't look amazing, and they only work on these smaller triangle bits, because I tried to use them on the big sort of oval and it just ended up looking silly. And I ended up using a lot of Ronix's grass to try and cover up some of the shortcomings of the planters, that they just look too uniformed, and they also have a slight hump in them. And that hump is very useful at times, but is also very annoying when you want to make a flat area. So I obviously want to make a similar road markings to the UK as I possibly can, since this is a UK inspired junction. And I found that on this particular stretch of road, half of the lines are dotted and the other half is a straight combined line, and I'm not 100% sure what that means. I think it's that you can overtake on the side which is dotted versus the side which isn't dotted. That's what I believe. Like I said, I don't live in the UK, in England or Scotland or anything, but that's what I know. And also on junctions and say turn-offs, the line goes from a solid line to a dotted line to indicate that there is a junction there and that vehicle's going to be coming out any time. So here are the dotted lines that indicate that there is a opening here and a crossing or a way for cars to enter the flow. Because I believe this would be classed as a carriageway, which then merges into, I guess, technically a dual carriageway for a very short period of time. But I'm not 100% sure on the terminology of UK junctions and intersections and carriageways and stuff, but as far as I'm aware, that is very close to what this is. But what do I know? So in real life, there is a caravan selling like a shop here, just in the middle of nowhere, around some bunch of fields. So I'm making the sort of car park area, which also connects to other farmers' field, which I'm guessing is like dual use. So I'm using these rumple strips as the start of the car park, just to give it a bit of difference from the actual road itself, because I end up using ploppable asphalt to like make the car park. And we're going to skip ahead now. As you can see, I've already placed the building down, which fits in the best, and I've also placed some barriers. In real life, they are actually very similar to this. They are just a big metal cage with rocks and stuff inside, I guess to prevent trucks and stuff from hitting into the business in case they come off the carriageway, because it is very close to the carriageway, this shop. And I've sunk it into the ground a bit because the building I used was a bit too tall for my liking. So I've sunk it into the ground and used the pedestrian path trick to make it so this is more flat in the area. And I've also used Ronix's ploppable pavement, I believe. This is one of the first times I've used it. I think I used it in a previous build, but I've used it a lot in this one to make this sort of car park area. I used several decals and the expansion joints by Beard Monkey. Even though there are already expansion joints on the default theme, I use these overgrown grass ones, because I just wanted this place to have a bit of a more overgrown feel to it. And I was thinking it would be quite nice to have a sort of overgrown grass decal sort of thing, so that you could place it on concrete coming from the grass, and it would sort of like show the spread and maybe some cracks around it to so this place isn't super maintained, but it's maintained enough to keep it at bay, but it's still a bit worn in places where maybe cars don't travel as much, and it's more just left to be overgrown. That's the general idea behind it. So here I am using Ronix's grass. It is very useful, but very hardware intensive and a bit annoying that it comes in different sizes. I do like the fact that it has different sizes, but it is annoying when you're trying to place them in small areas and you get a big one versus a small one when you need a small one, and it can be annoying. So I'm just trying to work out what decals and trees and bushes and shrubs I want in this area. Trying to fill it in just to make it look more detailed, more nice. Not really knowing what I'm trying to do here. I think I'm trying to find maybe some things that would look more overgrown. Because I got the idea of the overgrown bit by Ronix's grasses being able, they sort of spread and have limbs at points, and they look like they've overgrown when they're spreading out over certain areas, and it looks quite nice. But if I could control it more, it would look even better. So I'm adding these sort of damaged decals to the edges of the poppable pavement to make it like fit in more with the surrounding area. Because I'm going to use the curb props to show the end of the ploppable asphalt and the beginning of the fields around the area. Now, as you saw in the cinematics at the start, there was a ton of fields, and they were made by Dikaza. Made loads of fields. They're in a big pack, a big prop pack, and I don't show me placing them because it is extremely boring. I probably should have shown maybe one like field me making, but you just place them in lines and make a field out of them. And there's a huge variety, and they're all very nice. There is some problems sometimes with them popping out of like render distance sort of thing because of the way the circle is in the game. That's sort of the render view that you can see, and it does affect it at points, but all in all they are pretty good and they work very well. So like I said, if you want to use them, they're by Dikaza, they're on the workshop. Farm prop pack, I believe. He makes other great decals and stuff like that. Just go and check him out. So for the dirt path here, I really don't like the way dirt paths look in the game. They look really bad, and so I end up just covering up with a plain gravel decal. Nothing really exciting, but it's better than the default. I would have maybe used Ronix's dirt sort of things, but I wanted to try something different, and this didn't really feel like that sort of area. So you can see I am sinking some curb props into the ground. This has been made possible by updates to certain mods. Is it prop snapping, I believe, where you can sink props into the ground? And I made this sort of a more damaged entrance to the farm area, because I'm imagining a lot of farm trucks, a lot of tractors and stuff have driven over this, and they sort of pull at the curbs that are on the ground and just break them up and move them around. So that's sort of what that is trying to simulate. It looks okay, but it is very hard to do something like that in game. And obviously I'm using a lot of UK props and stuff. There is a sort of traffic cone that I'm using. And this part I am making a very UK like inspired road markings. It's like a dotted version of the generic sort of splitter road that shows where you're splitting, but they just dot the lines, and it's actually a lot easier to build this sort of draw this sort of marking on the road, because it uses a lot less props, and it's just a lot easier to do because you don't have to be as accurate when you're placing the lines inside of the triangle. You just have to place them good enough so that they fit into the area. And as they go into the bigger side of the triangle, you just expand them out, and it actually looks really nice. I'm probably going to use it more. It will be more difficult to use in certain builds because it is a very UK thing. If it is used in other countries, please let me know. I'd like to know, because then I could use it more. So this video is coming to an end now. I hope you enjoyed this video. That's it for now. I'll see you next time.